Welcome. If you're trying to get your head around complex ideas quickly, you're in the right place. Today, we are diving into syntactic theory, specifically looking at spinal trees and labeling theory.
Yep, some really core stuff in linguistics.
Our mission really is just to unpack these concepts, understand their significance, without making it overly academic.
Exactly. Trying to see how linguists are thinking about sentence structure in, well, maybe less traditional ways.
Okay, let's start with spinal trees. I think most people picture those standard branching diagrams. How are spinal trees different?
Right, so the traditional view is often very symmetrical branching. Spinal trees propose that some structures are built more linear.
Linearly. How so?
Think of it like a central spine, maybe the main verb and its projections, forming a kind of backbone. Other elements then attach onto the spine, rather than everything branching equally from one node. It's a different way to visualize prominence.
Ah, okay. So less of a pyramid, maybe more like a pole with things attached.
Sort of, yeah. It captures a different kind of structural relationship that some theories find useful.
Got it. Okay, let's shift to labeling theory. What's the basic idea here? What problem is it trying to solve in minimalist syntax?
Well, the fundamental question is, when you combine two syntactic objects, say using merge, how does the resulting larger object get its identity, its label? Like, how do we know if the new thing is a verb phrase or a noun phrase? Labeling theory aims to provide a mechanism for that.
Right, because you need that label to build bigger structures, presumably.
Precisely. The label tells the grammar what this unit is and how it can be used later on.
So how does the labeling actually happen according to the theory? Is there a specific process?
It often involves looking at the features of the two items that were merged. Usually the head element shares its features, its properties, and those determine the label. Think of it as one element being more prominent or structurally important. Its features kind of win out and define the combined phrase.
Okay, features win out. But what if? What if something can't get a label? Is that possible?
Oh, absolutely. And that's a big problem for the derivation, for building the sentence.
Why? What happens then?
If a syntactic object doesn't have a label, the system essentially stalls. It doesn't know how to combine this unlabeled thing with anything else. It's like having a component without instructions, you can't integrate it. This often leads to ungrammaticality. The derivation crashes, basically.
Crashes. Okay. Now, I heard symmetric structures can be tricky for labeling. Why is that?
Yeah, symmetric structures are structures where the two merged elements seem to have, well, equal status. There's no clear head.
Ah, so if no head clearly wins, it's hard to pick the features for the label.
Exactly that. It creates ambiguity. Which element's features should project? The theory needs ways to resolve this, perhaps through movement or specific rules about feature sharing.
Speaking of movement, like asking a question, moving a who or what to the front, how does that interact with labeling?
Movement definitely complicates things, but in potentially helpful ways. When an element moves, it leaves a copy or a trace, and this changes the configuration. The moved element and its relationship to the structure it left can influence how labels are assigned both at the landing site and around the original position.
So movement can actually help resolve labeling issues sometimes.
It can, yes. Yeah. By changing the structural relationships and prominence.
This all sounds quite different from the old X-bar theory, the traditional projection rules. Could labeling theory actually, replace that entirely?
Well, that's a huge question in the field. Some linguists explore that possibility, seeing labeling theory as maybe more fundamental. But traditional phrase structure ideas are really well established and explain a lot. It's probably more accurate to say labeling theory refines or works alongside projection rather than completely replacing it, at least for now.
Right, it's an ongoing refinement. You mentioned features being key. How does feature sharing, like agreement, help determine labels?
Feature sharing, which happens through an operation often called agree, helps establish connections. If two elements share features, like number or gender, it often reinforces which one is the head. The element whose features are being matched is typically the head, and thus its category determines the label.
Okay, so merge puts things together, agree links them via features.
And labeling theory determines the identity of the thing merge created, often based on the feature relationships established by agree. They're all interconnected.
Right, it all clicks together. Okay, so for everyone listening, let's boil it down. Key takeaway 1. Spinal trees offer this alternative, sometimes more linear view of sentence structure compared to just traditional branching.
Uh-huh. A different geometric metaphor almost.
And takeaway two, labeling theory is this crucial mechanism within the minimalist program trying to really nail down how syntactic units get their identity, their phrase type.
And it's vital because without labels, the whole system of building sentences kind of falls apart. Remember the crash.
Definitely. And crucially, this is all active research, right? These aren't settled textbook facts from 50 years ago.
Not at all. Linguists are constantly debating, refining, and testing these ideas against data from different languages. It's a very live area.
So our goal was to give you a clearer picture of these complex ideas, spinal trees, and labeling theory. Hopefully that feels a bit less abstract now.
Yeah, hopefully giving you a sense of the kinds of puzzles linguists work on.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Just consider how these incredibly complex, abstract rules we've been discussing somehow operate beneath the surface, allowing us all to produce and understand this amazingly nuanced thing we call language every single day. What does that suggest about how our minds are structured, about thought itself? Something to ponder.